Hey everybody, so today let's explore American Heist, starring Adrian Brodey and Hayden Christiansen. And I gotta say, overall, I'm like 50-50 on this one. It's got some good parts and some parts that I just sort of scratch my head at. It starts out with Hayden Christensen is playing an auto mechanic, and he gets a phone call from a loan company because he wants to open up his own shop, and he gets denied. And you don't really know, but you can tell he's just kind of frustrated at life. And he ends up seeing a girl in the office of the repair shop he works at, and it happens to be played by the woman that played Mia in the Fast and Furious movie, which is kind of funny considering she's having car trouble. So he ends up telling her, hey, instead of bringing it here, why don't you just keep it at home? I'll come by and I'll fix it for a lot cheaper than the repair shop's going to fix it because it's too expensive. And you find out that they actually used to date, and she kind of says to him, like, you've been gone for a while. What happened to you? Did you go on a trip around the world? Were you a CIA operative? Kind of joking around. And he goes with the joke that he was a CIA operative. So you can kind of tell for a little while he was in jail. And that's probably why he can't get a loan for his auto shop or anything like that. So he ends up going home, and Adrian Brodey is there. Adrian Brodey is playing his brother. His brother's been locked up. He did some hard time for a while. The movie opens up with Adrian Brodey getting released from prison and kind of hooking up with looks like some of his old colleagues. And he ends up meeting somebody that you can tell is not there to play games with Adrian Brodey. Adrian Brodey plays kind of a dumber character. Not slow, just not very bright. Hayden Christensen's character is actually a very bright guy. And I will say that was one of the things I did like, because a lot of times they portray auto mechanics as being stupid. And as somebody that's actually a certified auto mechanic, I went to school for 4 years for automotive technology. You have to be kind of smart to honestly know how to take apart a car and put it back together. So the fact that he was, an intelligent person, I liked, except for when he goes and he checks out the girl's car, he's like looking at, he takes off the fuel filter and dabs in his hand, moves around, goes up and tells her, hey, somebody put sugar in your gas tank. Don't park in a bad neighborhood. So he ends up telling her that she needs a new fuel filter. That made sense. He has to replace the fuel tank. That didn't make any sense to me because you just need to drop the tank, drop the gas, replace the fuel pump, not the tank. You're probably going to have to replace the injectors and most of anything that goes with the fuel system. But then he also tells her that she needs to replace her carburetor. And as far as I can tell in that car, it was too new to have a fucking carburetor. So I did find that to be annoying. I hate it when people that write movies think they know more about cars than they do. If you don't know about cars, don't fucking write about them. That's my soapbox. It really annoyed me. I worked in a shop for many years prior to me joining the military, so I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, back to the movie. Adrian Brodey ends up telling his brother, hey, you know what? I know you're having money problems. Let's fix this. There we go. Fix my light. He ends up telling his brother, look, I know you're having money problems. I know you want to get your own shop. Damn, my light was too bright. It just literally blinded me. So he tells him, I know you want to get your own shop. I've got these partners that we can do a real estate investment with. He goes, let's go meet them. So he goes and he meets them, and they're like, get in the car. You're gonna drive us to meet with our partner. And he gets really sketched out. The guys' names are Sugar and Ray. And even Hayden Christensen looks at him and goes, so where's Leonard? Making a Sugar Ray Leonard joke. So they go, and this deal is taking a while, and Hayden Christensen's just sitting in his car. So he gets out of his car to find out where his brother and the other two guys are, and he hears pop, pop, pop. So gunshots going off. He sees the guys coming back, and the guy's like, I told you, don't get out of the fucking car. So he gets back in the car. The cops end up showing up, and Hayden Christensen has to drive. And he does a pretty decent job driving. They get away, and dude tells him to get rid of the car. So Hayden Christensen goes home, and he's packing up. He wants to get the fuck out of town. He doesn't want to do this stuff. Adrian Brodey shows up, and he's like, dude, you can't leave. You cannot leave. They know who you are. They're going to hurt your girlfriend. This is a bad thing. And it's revealed that Hayden Christensen did 16 months in jail when Adrian Brodey did, I think it was 10 years in prison for some job that they did together that Adrian Brodey roped his brother into. And Adrian Brodey shot a cop. and that caused everything to go downhill. So the other two dudes show up. And they tell him, dude, we told you to get rid of the car. He goes, you'll get a new car. And so he ends up having to get rid of the car. He's really being strong-armed into doing this type of work. He doesn't want any part of it. So they end up setting up a new job. And the job they're going to do is they're going to rob a bank. And Hayden Christensen looks at his brother and he's like, this is stupid. If you're going to rob a bank, you just go in, you take what's in the till, and you get the hell out. And Adrian Brody's like, no. We got the vault codes. We know when the vault's going to be open. It's going to be great. So they get Hayden Christensen to get a new truck. Now, he's sitting outside of the bank. And Adrian Brodey and the other guys are inside the bank. And everything's actually going pretty well for the robbery. They get the vault open. But you knew as soon as they got the vault open that they were going to take out the bank manager because they took off their masks. And if anybody sees your face, they're not going to make it. So as they're doing that, someone goes to enter the bank and they figure out that there's a robbery going on and they end up calling the police. Now, Hayden Christensen runs into the bank to be like, dude, the cops are on their way. We need to get out of here. During that, one of the guys that was supposed to be, helping with the robbery jumps in the getaway van and leaves everybody. So the cops show up and they all start shooting back at the cops. Now, the two dudes that set up the heist, they end up running. So half the cops are chasing them and Adrian Brodey and Hayden Christensen are trapped in the bank. When they're in the bank, Hayden Christensen, you can tell he's being calm, he's being as cool as he can, but shit's going off the rails. Adrian Brodey ends up taking a bullet to the side, and he's like, I'm not going back in. We need to figure out a way out of this. So Hayden Christensen's walking around. He grabs a woman, brings her outside, and he's like, I got a hostage. I need to talk to a negotiator. So he's just really buying himself some time. So he ends up patching Adrian Brodey up, and Adrian Brodey looks at him. He's like, do you forgive me? He's like, what? He's like, I've been a thief my whole life. I've stolen everything. I've stolen from you. Do you forgive me? And Hayden Christensen's like, you're my brother. I love you. So then Adrian Brodey just starts beating the shit out of his brother. And you're like, what the fuck? It gets him all bloody. And he has one of the hostages come over and they switch clothes. He brings him out the front. He's got a gun to Hayden Christensen's head. He's like, I'll do it. And he kind of moves the gun away, knowing what's going to happen. And the sniper takes him out. EMS ends up taking Hayden Christensen into an ambulance, and they end up opening up his jacket and realizes he's wearing what the bank robbers are wearing. So he gets ready to call. So Hayden Christensen just starts knocking the dude out, and he runs away. His girlfriend actually works for the police department as a police dispatcher, so she hears all this, and she just gets up and leaves. Now, the premise behind all that was okay, but I ran into some problems. And the movie was made in 2014, so it's still relatively new when we talk about modern technology. They had smartphones. The issue that I had is when they shot Adrian Brodey, they were going to figure out who he was and who he was connected to. When Adrian Brodey was punching his brother, he bled on the wall, so they've got DNA and that stuff. So getting his brother out of the bank did nothing because there's still going to be a nationwide manhunt for this guy. So there's nothing he could do. This isn't one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, the guy got away and like, that's super cool or something like that. No, this dude is fucked in any way, shape, or form. He's fucked. So overall, like, I don't mind movies that subvert expectations. Different things happen. But I think whoever wrote this, they didn't realize a lot of the plot holes that they put into their own stuff. He didn't help him. He fucked him over even more. He put him on the run. The best thing Hayden Christensen could have done, and Adrian Brodey, if he really wanted to protect his brother, is say that these two guys and himself were blackmailing him, basically saying that we're going to kill you, we're going to kill your girlfriend if you don't do this for us. And at the very least, Hayden Christensen probably would have gotten off with a much lighter sentence, especially since he was only supposed to be the getaway driver. He didn't hurt anybody per se. I don't think he actually ended up shooting any cops or anything like that. So there were ways that he could have gotten out of it that would have worked a lot better, because his brother was obviously going to be guilty as soon as they found the body. They're definitely going to be looking for him because he's going to have disappeared. They know one guy got away. So it wasn't hard to figure out who they needed to look for. All in all, the movie wasn't bad. But like I said, once it got to the ending and you're just kind of like, well, this was fucking stupid. It made me feel like I kind of wasted my time today in some regards. So yeah, it's not terrible. If you got some time to kill, go check out American Heist. I watched it on Max today. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I feel bad for Hayden Christiansen. I think that ever since Star Wars, he hasn't gotten a fair shake because his performance was fine. He nothing wrong, and Adrian Brody's performance was pretty good too. It was just not stellar writing. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Take care.